Every bass player should know how to play all the 12 keys in music. Or do you think the 12 key idea is just for keyboard players? Now come with me in the next 12 days. I'm going to be showing you guys how and why every bass player should know how to play the 12 keys and how it's going to help you improve your fretboard game. So if you're just coming across this channel for the first time, I know you must have subscribed to my other channel with over 5,000 subscribers. Now welcome to my new YouTube channel. In this channel, I'm going to be showing you guys the most basic thing that every bass player should know, starting from the scratch, especially if you learned the bass the wrong way. Now, do you want to hit the subscribe button, turn your notification bell so that whenever the 12 videos pops up, you get to see it. I'm going to be uploading one video each day on this series. So in the next 12 days, we're going to be uncovering these secrets. Okay, so starting off, we're going to be starting off with the key of C major. Now, key C major is the most easiest key as it is the most basic key because there's no complicated sharp and complicated flat. What I mean by that is by their positions, okay, which we are going to start off with learning it. But if you don't understand key C very well, it's going to make everything hard for you to learn in other keys, okay. As we already mentioned, that the bass guitar is tuned standardly to key C, okay, so that makes it why we're going to start with key C. So first thing first, we are going to learn the note values of all these keys, which I already mentioned in our previous video that each note on the fret has a note value and each open string has a note value. Now the purpose and the goal of this 12 days class is that we're going to cover each of the value of each fretboard on each different key, on each open string. What are the note value, not just we guessing. I can bet you that 80% of most bass players, especially beginners and intermediate bass players, do not know the note value of each of these open string at its different key. Now this is what we are going to also be covering in this 12 days class. Okay, so if you have any question at the end of this lesson, you can always go ahead and leave it in the comment section. At the end of each class, I'm going to be leaving you guys with practice tips that will help you master each different key. Now one thing you must want to know is that each different key is going to have its own unique spice and what is going to make you stand out with whatever you're playing on these different keys. Now learning how to play 12 keys on the bass guitar, yes, that sounds strange, but then this is going to help you master your fretboard very, very well. I will encourage you guys to actually take this very serious and make sure you put it into practice everything we're going to be learning, okay? As I'm going to put in the chart of the fretboard on the screen, the ones with red pen are the ones that represent the note names as alphabetical order, okay? So F, G and G sharp and stuff. So the one with blue pen is the one that represents their tonic surfer names, okay, and what they are going to be standing for in each of the frets. So you have the numbers of the fret 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to the 12th fret. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 down to this fret. Now one thing I want you guys to know is that whenever you play on your open string, it's equivalent to what you have on your 12th fret, okay? So it's like saying that you start from your open string, once you get to your 12th fret, it repeats whatever you have here and then it starts afresh again to replicate here. So if you're playing a bass that has 2 dots or let's say 24th fret, you will notice that you have this and then at the end you still have the same note, okay? That makes it easier. That's a basic foundation that we need to know, okay? Let's start with the open string on the key C. I'm going to be making this on a 4-string bass, even though I'm using a 5-string bass to teach you guys. So if you're playing a 5-string bass, I would strongly encourage that you go ahead and do the one for the D string by yourself. If you're playing a 6-string, I will also encourage that you do the one for the C string on your own. And if you're also playing a 4-string, you never can tell, you can also go ahead and do the chart for the 5 and 4 string by yourself. So it helps you have a better understanding of what is going on the 5 string, even though you're playing a 4 string. Okay, so first thing on the 1st string, we have G string. This is the note value of the G string on key C. So the note value of G string on key C is what? G, which is so. Now the note value of D string, which is the 2nd string, is Re. Now the 3rd string, A, has a note value of La. So the 4th string has a note value of E, which is Mi. So what this means is that when you're playing your bass, if you are playing on key C, right, you can go ahead and play in a place where you want to play Mi or you want to play E. Okay, that's very simple. Now, one thing next you want to know is where is your C on the fretboard on key C. Now, on every standardly tuned bass, like we already mentioned, you have C on the 3rd fret, right, of your A string. Okay. So one thing you want to pay attention to is the position markers. Now, on the fretboard of your C major, you notice that you always have this first dot here, right? Right? And then you go ahead and play your major scale there. You see you have this. Right? Are you paying attention to each places and each fretboard where you have your C? Can you see that? This is another C. This is another C. This is another C. This is another C. Okay? Now, one of the things you want to do is that you want to understand where these things are on key C, because when you start learning key C sharp and key D, you also understand what we are also doing there. Okay? So the next thing you want to do is to practice all your major and minor triads on the C major key. Okay? So you have okay, let me call out the notes. Do, mi, so, re, fa, la, mi, so, ti, fa, la, do, so, ti, re, la, do, mi, ti, re, fa. Do you notice the different fingerings? Okay. One of the things you guys did not notice is that playing your triads on key C is actually simple, because you already know that this is your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So once you just place those shapes there as root note 3rd and 5th, root note 3rd and 5th, root note 3rd and 5th, it's easier to always remember. But when we start playing it in a different key, you will understand that this is why you need to actually learn how to play all keys on the bass, so it can help you play around your fretboard more comfortably. So we have this same thing, but try to play them in different patterns to spread your thoughts about the fretboard. Okay, you go. Do you see that? Okay, do you see that? So you can still go ahead and do something like this. What I'm going to be doing now is, wherever the triad ends, it means that I'm going to play the next triad for where it ends. Let me show you what I mean. Do, mi, so. This means that the next triad I'm going to be playing is the G major triad, which is going to be so, ti, re. So re, fa, la, la, do, mi, so, ti, ti, re, fa. Then fa, la, do, mi, so. You see that this brings us back to where we started, which is do. Let me take it again so you see. Do, mi, so, so, ti, re, fa, la, do, mi, so, ti. Okay, ti, re, fa, la, do, mi, so. Okay, so you can practice this like an exercise. It's like that. Now, what you want to do next is to play what you know how to play already on key C, engaging all your open strings, right? So you get to master where those notes are and which notes do you have on open strings on each different key. So let's say I have something like, okay, do you see that this is actually different? Let me do a bit deviation into what we have on key C sharp. So if assuming we are playing on key C sharp, this same lick I just played, now let me play it on C sharp. This sounded off. Okay, so that makes you understand what we're actually talking about. So do you see that? So I can be playing something and do, okay, or maybe, or, okay, or, okay, this one I just did now. Okay, So the next thing you want to do, which is like the last tip you have to do, is write out this chart. It's going to help you memorize what is on the key of C. Okay, when you write out something, it sticks to your head. That works for me. I don't know of you. So with that being said, we've come to the end of day 1, mastering the key of C. See you tomorrow. We're going to be learning how to play key C sharp and the difference in key C sharp and then key C. Peace out.